Hey, welcome to Pass the Aisle. I'm
Welcome.
Kevin,
And I'm Meg.
and today we are speaking about what?
Yeah, so I didn't really know what to talk about this week and
The weeks are just going by very fast.
very fast, and we've been on what you said is yesterday's or this morning was maintenance mode.
It's been on maintenance mode because, and another thing, we're still dealing with health issues.
Mhm.
Uh,
Oh yeah, last week we talked about health.
yeah, and then I went for a 5 mile run,
Oh yeah.
which was quite crazy, I know, because I haven't ran since
My dad runs 5 miles.
like a year ago or something before we moved to
Right.
before we moved here. Um,
The
but
one day that was beautiful.
it was really nice, and I don't know if we mentioned, but we live near the cows, and usually it smells every day.
Yeah.
I can't mention like there's a time that it doesn't smell.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I just want to figure out how far is the entire neighborhood like what's a mile, what's 2 miles, what's 5 miles. I want to see like geographically how far I can run,
Yep.
and yeah, and just kind of know my surrounding, know my neighborhood, because I never ran around here before.
I see.
So I went for 5 miles, and on the fourth mile there was no sidewalk for me to run on. So I ran through mud, I ran through dirt, and I smelled cows while I was running for that last mile. And then I
Yeah.
wrapped around into our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
Sounds
then
so bougie.
yeah, and then the next day, we had a wedding. It was a 12-hour wedding. And then the next day, my left knee was shot really bad, and I had an engagement. And I'm like, gosh, what the heck?
Yeah.
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 So that's the story.
I helped you with your knee.
Yeah. Thank you for helping me with the KT tape and like your methods of rolling out. Always remember roll out.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's good that I already went through it 'cause I didn't do anything for
yeah.
so long and I made it really worse. So I was like, dude, do not do that. Take ibuprofen,
Yeah.
do the whole rollout thing. I knew exactly what was wrong, and it was good 'cause we could address it right away instead of letting it linger and then letting it go on. And then you recovered in like 3 days or so.
Yeah, I felt really good the next day actually.
Yeah.
And usually without your method, I had this runner knee problem before.
Mhm.
It's not the first time, and I would just wait it out.
Yeah.
And when I waited it out, it took like 3 or 4 days, and
Or longer. Yeah.
I ignored it and went running again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but this time I think, as we're getting older, I have to realize that my legs aren't as strong as it used to be, and
But your rebound rate was really quick considering even though you worked that day and then you
yeah,
worked the next day too. So considering like your rebound rate was really I think too like your quad muscles are pretty developed on both sides.
mhm,
Not one was like weaker than the other, which is probably why mine is taking so long.
yeah.
So, I think it's like you still have pretty resilient body
Let's see.
'cause you're still
I'm
you're walking and you're doing all the things.
yeah,
Yeah, instead of limping everywhere like I was forever.
yeah. Well, I mean, they always say like always kind of think it's like mindset in a way. Like you're recovering, and you're getting better. Like just keep going.
No, yeah, you
Yeah.
are really resilient. I just compare it to when I injured my knee. I was like out for a long time
Mm.
where I couldn't even yeah. So, yeah, so that's what happened.
That's
And
what
we're
happened. It
yeah.
was busy.
Yeah.
I mean, from Thursday, and then it was like just a lot of preparation on Friday,
Yeah.
and then I was just gone all day on Saturday, gone on Sunday, shot on Monday as well, and shot on Tuesday.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you
yeah.
basically hung out with your sister on Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah.
And then yesterday was a relaxed day for both of us, and
Yeah.
I felt, hey, it's Thursday. So that's why it's been like pretty relaxed.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of time to like get into any crises. Thank God. Like it's really nice So even though we didn't really have things to talk about, right,
Yeah.
or issues to address, I think that's really great. It shows, it's a testament to this show and the progress that we've made, 'cause we're not, it used to feel like every show we're trying to fix something, and which was good, but at the same time it always felt kind of anxious too. But now it feels like you say, it's nice to be in maintenance mode where you're not in so much of a struggle, and even the
Yeah.
health stuff is not so immediate. So now we're like not all of a sudden eating really healthy and changing everything. Now it's like we're used to it. We're used
Yeah.
to eating healthy. I'm used to
It's been over
basically-
20 days, yeah.
I'm basically used to now eating
I'm used to eating
the-
sandwiches
this-
every day.
this new diet.
But I've been pretty good during weddings, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, the past 3 weddings, I just rejected all the red meat.
Yeah.
Stayed away from mashed potatoes,
Yeah.
like they always include.
Yeah.
And really just know it. Like, just know not to do it,
Yeah.
not to eat it. Like, control the mind. Like, I was trying really hard this past weekend, even how hungry I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really did not want to bounce back to high cholesterol or
Right.
it's like, you know, what you see is what you eat, right? It's like whatever's in front of you, you just want to devour it, especially when it looks really good.
Devour.
It looks really good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see all, you know, just the filet mignon they always give us in every wedding.
But you know it's not going to do your body any good. So you
Yeah.
know that now. You've taken that to heart.
And I've seen the results. I've seen the weight loss. I've seen like clothes are fitting a lot better. I
You
feel
feel
the
better,
energy. Yeah, you
yeah.
feel better. And I was like, no, let's don't do it.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I feel, yeah, when you, of course, you know, when you eat processed food, when
Yeah.
you eat out a lot, you feel you're a lot tired, unmotivated to change, I feel.
Feel settled. Like
Yeah, you feel like you're
this is it.
settled and you're too comfortable. That's why they call it comfort food. You're
That's
so
true. Yeah.
comfortable.
Comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, eating it.
Yeah.
And that comfort gives you like a positive reinforcement that
Yeah.
you love that feeling, and then
Yeah.
it becomes very addictive, and you just want. And every time the day feels comfortable or something, you want to go back
Yeah.
to that comfort
That's like
food.
nice, cozy
Yeah.
thing.
So, be on a little on the edge this
Mhm.
time and
Mhm.
say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like that you're also asking me, and you know, we're trying to keep each other on track with our diet as well, but not be too like strict about it too. I
Yeah.
think that'll roll into some of the topics, 'cause I asked some of our friends on Instagram like what we can talk about today, other than what, you know, our maintenance mode, what we're doing right now. And it kind of leads into like how we keep each other on track. I was
Yeah.
wondering if you had any feeling, like I already know that you are emotional with food,
Mhm.
and that I addressed my denial and emotionality with food too. And I wanted to know if you had any, like, in your mind, any thoughts of like feeling a little bit sad or depressed that you can't eat those foods anymore.
Not really. I don't get that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get depressed over food.
But I hear you bellyache throughout the house, like, this sucks, like after this show. You'll be like, it sucks, I can't eat this.
It's not like I'm depressed though.
No, before, like
Yeah.
first, like when we first had to make a change, not
Yeah.
really so much now. And I only ask you that because I went through the same thing.
I
I
think
wasn't so
it's-
vocal about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd rather let it all out of my system and just be very vocal about it. But it doesn't mean, yeah, you're depressed or you're, you know.
It didn't make you sad that you couldn't
I'm
eat
not.
In and Out
Yeah,
as
I'm not
much as-
sad. It's
as-
like
as you
it's
could?
my way of struggling through change.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have to be vocal. I have to let it out.
You're
I'm not-
just venting.
Yeah, you're just venting. I just need to go through it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But you're not sad about not eating
I'm
those
not-
foods.
Yeah, I'm not too sad about it. I mean, I haven't really, even though I say it a lot,
Uh-huh.
it's not like I'm going to drive out there and go grab it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was sad.
Oh.
I think for when I was like looking at the list of what I can eat, right?
Mhm.
And it was really small. and I was really hungry, but also like whenever I eat anything, it irritates me.
Yeah.
And that was like the second day of like learning the list. And then I was like, dude, I really have to, really have to change everything that I do. 'Cause it wasn't just like, oh, eat healthy. It's like even some healthy foods that you
Mhm.
enjoy, you can't have those.
Yeah.
So maybe it was because it was more strict, I guess, that I felt sad.
I think your diet is more well, I mean, reading through your FODMAP, it's really basic. I mean, there's a lot of things you can eat. You just need to remember what you can eat. There's just so much on
Yeah.
that FODMAP, and in a way, it's almost an inconvenience. I wish there was an app that you can just search right away versus looking through each category on that FODMAP, especially when I'm going to the market and I'm
Mm.
trying to find what you can eat and what you can't. Yeah, I was like, let me whip out my phone and then
I still
zoom
gotta
up.
look up every single thing.
Yeah,
I have to ask myself,
but
you know,
maybe if you search for an app, there's probably an app out
that
there
makes it easier.
that you can just tap it in, tap in the ingredient. Can I have this?
But that's what I basically do on Google, and then they tell me.
Yeah. But then every time I search on Google, it doesn't pop up right away.
Yeah, I guess you kind of have to search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it gets a little annoying where you rather have a few clicks to get what you need to.
Yeah, it might be
eat.
worth it
Yeah.
to look for an app. Yeah, to make it easier.
But no, after this 20-day period of eating really clean, and also keeping within calories, I mean, I still go out with like Qual or with Tony, and we'll eat food that is not within my diet, but I still keep it to chicken.
Mm.
Um,
So how come you keep asking me about like dessert and burgers and stuff like that?
oh no.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm trying to invoke and ask you the question. Like, it's
No.
okay to feel a certain way about food and your attachment to food. I want you to address it. I want you to know that I'm okay with it, but I want you also to be clear with yourself.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah, it's a change. It's
like
a
if you have a
struggle.
denial about it the same way I did, I want you to know that I went through that like for I feel like a solid day. I was very sad that I could not eat.
Mm-hmm.
I could not have a bag of chips like the way that I used to. Like that's my comfort. That's fun. And go watch a movie and eat a whole fucking bag of chips.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You know what I mean? Like that's what we used to do.
Yeah.
And I was sad to tell myself like, oh, I'm not gonna do that anymore. And I was making a decision, but I was
Mhm.
also I was gonna stick by that decision and be committed. But I was also saying goodbye to that former self that just eats whatever. And
Yeah.
you know.
I would say that we're doing really well though.
I think we are too, and it feels
A
more
lot of people
permanent.
don't overlook even once they get their results. They're like, okay, and then they will fall off. So it's good that we're still keeping each other in check, still following what we have to eat,
Yeah.
and that's the best thing we can do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we got to just do our best. I feel like sometimes we'll fall off sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's up to us to kind of be a team about it
Mhm.
because we already know. We already know our own internal struggles with food,
Yeah.
and it does not come easily, but we have like real consequences if we get it wrong. So that's always a good motivator.
Yeah.
I just always think about, I want to be pain free, or I don't, I want
Mhm.
my gut to heal me, not hurt me. So that brings us into the next thing, which is I also started this thing called bullet journaling that I got the idea from Michelle and Jenna. And as we're talking about maintenance mode, I think that's really nice because it's another tool that helps me maintain myself and my sanity, what we do in our business, our progress in our marriage. I put all of that in my bullet journal. And some of the things that help keep me accountable to my own bad habits is like I'll write in here like the language that I use. I also have like my diet plan, like my healthy gut plan and everything like that. So I think that's been really nice to like have something. I think it's a great idea to have everything all in one place. Instead of, I have like so many notebooks. Like you've seen all my notebooks, right? Like I
Mhm.
write a lot in notebooks, and so it's nice to have just one. But more than that is to move on to what our friends were asking us to talk about in topics. Um, um, Somebody asked us, "How do you help your partner?" I don't know if it was okay to share the name, so I'm just gonna keep it anonymous.
Okay.
Somebody asked us how to help your partner through depression and anxiety.
Oh, that's pretty deep.
It's pretty deep, yeah.
Depression and anxiety. Help your partner. Um, I know you were like when we were first dating, and you had financial issues,
Yeah.
and financial issues can really get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were still early on, and I didn't know you had financial issues until you brought it up one day. And, but you were you were having crazy anxiety
Yeah.
and depression.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you would cry in odd hours, like
Odd
um,
hours in the night. Why are you crying so loud?
why you cry?
Why you cry? You know that meme? Why are you crying so loud? Yeah.
But I feel like to deal with it is besides keeping it all in,
Mm-hmm.
express it with your spouse or your partner.
Yeah.
It's always best to be vocal about your thoughts.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to bring it up, because I feel if you're afraid of bringing it up, you're not going to make any progression
Right.
in your relationship if it's bothering you.
Right.
And lead it in a way that if this is affecting within your relationship, lead it in a way to like really get your point across, to like paint a picture for your partner and
Mm-hmm.
how they can help
Mm-hmm.
or problem solve these issues together versus trying to figure it out on your own.
Right. Well, I think what you did in the very beginning, which was I think really new for me, because we were young and we were both raised in Asian households. So in my household, we didn't talk about problems. We didn't, like, if there was something wrong, you kind of talked about it, but you didn't really flesh all the things out, all the points, all the things. Make sure, hey, are you good? Am I good? Like, none of that. I was not used to that. Everything was swept under the rug, and you just buried it, and you just like kind of moved on. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of communication or lack thereof that I was used to when I first met you. But the magic, and I think the wonderful thing that you did in the very beginning was you said, "Hey, it's okay. It's like okay to talk to me."
Mhm.
And I was like, and I tell this to all my girlfriends, and that's the first. That was you made the first step, and then I just took that idea and kind of run with it, and we've been doing that in our marriage, and kind of like we go up and down with that idea of it's okay to talk to me, kind of a concept. And
Yeah, it's
sometimes,
okay to basically mess up in life and know that.
but you don't want to feel that
Yeah.
you don't first, you don't want to mess up. Second, you don't want to like admit or
That you
even
mess up.
show that you messed up, right? It's your
Yeah.
pride is hurting, your ego's hurting, and you don't, because you care for this person, you don't want to let them down.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it's not only me, like, crap, I messed up, but it's crap, I also let you down because you trusted me, you love me. But I think when you're young, you tend to think like, oh, it's conditional. And sometimes that would be with like parents. Like if you don't get an A, you're not gonna feel loved. That's how it was for I think a lot of
Mhm.
Asians. When you're growing up, like if you get a B, that's an F and I don't love you. That's how it feels when
Yeah.
you're young,
Yeah,
you know,
probably in the Asian culture.
in the Asian culture. So that's
Yeah.
the kind of mentality I think a lot of Asians, like in similar upbringings, kind of think.
I felt different because I mean I wasn't really raised by anyone after 6th grade. That's the truth.
No, and that's
Um,
so awesome, B, that you're
but
like,
but just to say it like in probably other cultures, if it's not always about Asians, here.
I'm just giving
But
I'm just giving my take
yeah,
because when I talk to my girlfriends and a lot of them are Asian, they have
yeah,
the similar um a similar upbringing,
yeah.
a similar sense, yeah.
But if you're a person that didn't have the parental upbringings, or like if you feel the lack of support and you have to do things on your own, or um basically how I thought of it is, yeah, my mom is still there. She's still working really hard. So I guilt trip myself
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
saying, okay, she's busting her ass working that we can live, this lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I have to do my part and bust my ass as well. And if I didn't, and if I did, like, if I got a really bad grade, or I didn't get accepted into a certain college,
Uh-huh.
or did anything that she would be proud of, right? Then yeah, I'll just be really guilty.
Right.
So I just kind of formulated that in my head to be a better person
Right.
throughout those years.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't feel guilty if I didn't do well for me too, because when you start to learn that you can be like if you're academically savvy and
Yeah.
you're good in that, and let's say you do badly, then of course you would also take it out upon yourself and feel like you'd have to punish yourself for not doing a good job. You feel
Yeah.
guilty, right? Of course, yeah, that's still very much apparent. I was just saying, like, when we first got together, I just wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to it being like, oh, okay, like I screwed up, you can screw up, we can both screw up, and we'll
Mhm.
still love each other. Like the love is unconditional.
Yeah.
Of course, your parents love you unconditionally, but when you're growing up in that kind of environment for so long, it doesn't feel unconditional. It
Mhm.
feels very, very, very conditional. If you made a mistake and then all of a sudden you're just like the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
That's how it would feel when I was younger.
So what was the question about again?
So,
It's
dealing with depression and anxiety, how to help your partner through it.
hmm.
And I remember.
So your partner is having that,
So, your partner's maybe dealing with depression or anxiety or
and
something.
he or she does not want to talk about it.
Like maybe they don't know how to deal with it. Maybe they're like in a rut. And I think it went back and forth for us because after you helped me through that, and
Mhm.
still there is still hurt there
Yeah.
because it was a pretty grave mistake for me. So of course I carry that kind of with me.
Mhm.
I still feel the feelings of that tinge of guilt of that mistake.
Yeah.
But you helped me through that. You were even willing to help me pay for some of that debt until I like totally was like, no, screw that. I don't want you to help me do that. Like I want to just file chapter 7 or whatever it was and
Mhm.
just handle like I so wanted to just make up for my mistake and atone and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But you were still there. You were still willing to support me. It's not like you were like, "Oh my god, who are you?
Yeah.
Why did you let that happen to yourself?" Like you didn't say anything like that. So you totally made it feel safe.
Yeah.
But some people don't know how to make an environment feel safe. And I think that can be said on both ends for us because there were times where I made you feel not safe to come to me for some time because like I was so strict also and judgmental also. And then it worked on the same end where it's like you made things very stern and very professional where I felt like I couldn't come to you in terms of support of like what I wanted to do when I left my county job and stuff. So it went on both ends. And so in terms of making the environment feel safe, like what you said, I think that's super important for you to be able to do for your partner when they're going through some sort of anxiety or depression. And there are levels of that, right? Like
Mhm.
there's severe anxiety and there's severe depression.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever experienced anything like that, but we've
Well, I
definitely
think I experience
not severe
not
depression,
not not depression, more probably anxiety,
anxiety,
where
yeah.
I couldn't sleep is going back to the house
The house,
and
yeah.
everything, and I think that really got me like crazy a little.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which
And
I was able to see and be
yeah,
on the other side and,
yeah,
and be like, oh shit, so that's your debt that you're carrying that was not necessarily your fault, because I was carrying a debt that wasn't necessarily my fault
Yeah.
in some way, right? And so I was like, oh, okay, I could see, but because you had that great example for me, like
Yeah.
I could be there for you and be like, dude, we're going to be okay. Your work is awesome. Like, it's going to be awesome. Like, it's going to be
Yeah.
fine. But when you were going through it and you had those realities and you were having those conversations with your mom every night, and it was always really, really stressful about money,
Yeah.
um, and then having you come back to the room and we just kind of like lay there in bed, like you're like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I was just like, just be there for you and not judging anything that came out of your mouth. I think that was really important. Not judging your mom. That was
Yeah.
important too. And understanding and not, even though I did feel times where I was like, the way that you would say to me, it would make me feel like, dang, like why did your mom do that to you? I would feel that sometimes. And I knew that's not, it's not she was doing it to you. It was just a situation that happened,
Yeah.
the economy and all that stuff, and she was basically a victim of those bank sharks.
Yeah.
And you are now, because you are, you know, able to actually pay for stuff. It was kind of like a double-edged sword, because yes, you can work and you can make money and you're very good at that, but that also meant that you could kind of clean up these financial messes, and then you also told me that you were also responsible for some other people's finances in your family. I was like, Jesus,
Yeah.
it's not just you supporting you and maybe trying to support me as your partner at that time. It was you supporting all of these people,
Yeah. I was like, what the hell?
and that you didn't tell me about until like actually very recently. So in terms of understanding and not judging, I think that's so important. Is when I could have easily, and I felt it too, to judge your family or to judge your mom or to feel any kind of way about them for, like, quote unquote, putting you in this situation where you had to do that. It's like, well, I would often hear from you, it's like, well, what else am I going to do? Not help my mom. You'd always say that.
Yeah.
What am I going to, even though you're so frustrated
Yeah.
and you were yelling and you were like almost to the point of tears sometimes, where it was so frustrating to feel like I'm working so hard, but yet I have to give, I don't get to keep 100% of my work. I have to give it. And sometimes you feel like, of course your mom 100% deserves it, but like maybe those other people, you don't really deserve that they
Yeah.
feel your heart, that they deserve your hard work.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, freaking sucks. But it's also amazing that you could actually do it. Some families who do the same thing to people who can potentially make money, and they maybe lay down and take advantage of that situation where, oh, Kevin will do it or so and so will do it.
Yeah.
He'll pay for it, because you're the responsible one. But at least you're able to do it. Like, we're living very comfortably. We were never really in a spot where we were gonna live on the street or something like that, even though that's something that you would say. You were like, I can't even afford my dog food. And I was like, we'll be fine. But yeah, just not judging them. I think that's very important for a partner to do, especially if it's family members who are maybe imposing that pressure or something, and just knowing that if I could just be here of support and find solutions, right? Like the house thing, we found solutions together, and when we actually did it as a family and as a unit, you, your mom, and I, like, that felt really good to know that we're all on the same team.
I say, yeah, list. I think what really helped was just taking one little step at a time to figure out and problem solve. I feel like, when you have probably anxiety and depression, there's so many things going through your mind, and you start to pick up on every little negative thing within your life, and you start to pack it all in one.
Yeah.
So I say when you're trying to be the most supportive partner in your relationship is to just dissect one problem at a time, versus like when you're having a conversation and just want to ask them every little thing that's going through their mind, and that will in return make them feel even more depressed, not even wanting to mention because they feel like it's going to be endless and nothing's going to be ever solved.
Yeah.
So probably just tackle on the first thing that comes to mind. The first thing that really um, is well connected to all the other problems, I feel like the major
one.
yeah, the major one.
And sometimes you have to dig a little bit and be patient with that process to dig. Like
Yeah.
like you're a sneaky one sometimes, 'cause you'll be angry about something and it's surface, but actually there's something else. There's something underneath
And sometimes even when you ask me, I really don't
and
know.
you really don't know. So
yeah,
you,
it's
you,
like
yeah,
it's
you
like
go
you have
through the
to
process.
yeah, you have to ask the right question as being on like you being my partner on the other side, right?
And truly listening.
Yeah.
So you can ask the right question.
Yeah.
Right. That's something I learned from Tony, is that he listens so well that that's how he knows to ask the right question. 'Cause I would ask him the same thing. I was like, how do you know to ask?
It's
Ask
probably
me that.
yeah, it's like it's almost like okay, abruptly you spoke about one problem, but what led you there? Yeah, there's always like something that led you there. It just can't just happen.
Little breadcrumbs.
Yeah, little breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Like I want to know from the very beginning.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not just what just happened, what you're currently dealing with, how it all started.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in my like impatient, habitual personality, I would like to just look at the one thing, right? But now I'm learning
Yeah.
that when I'm hearing certain negativity or I'm hearing a certain problem, especially from you, and now that it's like, okay, that's a skill that I could take to other people, where usually it is like that. You don't just go deep on the first thing,
Yeah.
right? It takes time. It takes like, can I trust you with this deep information?
Yeah.
Also, even though we're together, it's like, can I trust you to not judge me? Can I trust you to actually support me when I tell you this really deep, buried, emotional thought that I have or problem that I have? And trust, right? Can I
Yeah.
trust you with it? And so I guess building that trust, it comes from plainly stating in the plainest language that you can say,
Yeah.
and also keeping your cool. Like a lot of times when we go there and when we go deep, I try to cut my emotions off because I just want to show that I'm being logical and that
Yeah,
I'm hearing you
I
clearly.
yeah, I definitely remember when you asked me like, okay, like you're all like angry
Yeah.
and sad. I felt being taken advantage of for working so hard and not being able to enjoy it
Yeah.
for those years, or
Right.
even being able to purchase our first home.
Yes, you always say
Wha-
that. I could have bought a house 4
Yeah,
years ago, you know.
yeah,
And I said, yeah, but you know that it just wasn't in the cards for us, you
yeah.
know, and that it's
So,
okay.
but then, yeah, it all like came from. It's a timeline that went into play.
Right.
Yeah,
And
from purchasing a stupid truck.
hey, the truck is awesome.
No, the big rig. Like I'm talking about my mom's situation.
Got you.
That I mean, listening to her relatives
Yeah.
that influence her in the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah, and then going into a financial crisis
Right.
because of that stupid truck.
Even when you warned her about
Yeah.
doing that. Yeah, and it felt very defeating. Yes.
Yeah. And then you still did it, and then you hit 2008, 2009, and you got hit really hard.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
And
it goes,
getting I guess swindled.
yeah,
And it-
swindled.
And
And then, I mean, yeah, and then I have to pay for my grandma
Right.
life insurance. I'm
Right.
like, what the hell? What the hell?
yeah.
So there's many things, you know? Yeah.
Right. And healing the resentment,
Yeah.
because of course
I'm like-
resentment will build when you're giving something that you feel is not being appreciated or
Yeah.
not being deserving. And it's like, why, like if somebody just take from you,
Yeah.
and they're supposed to be, right? They're supposed to be giving to you. Or you see other examples where, well, I see, you know, this person giving to their grandson or whatever
Mhm.
in a way that's not attached and linked to money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, as soon as I could understand that, kind of like late in our relationship, then
But
I could
yeah.
really understand your anxieties and the way that you think and be more supportive
Yeah.
instead of going, what the hell, you don't understand? You like I would get so angry because I didn't understand where you're coming from, but at the same time you couldn't trust me yet because I had exhibited
Mhm.
some behaviors that shown you that I can't trust you with this information.
And it's pretty funny is because when speaking to my father's side of the family and
Yeah.
everything, they're all chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no financial issues.
Yeah.
And then you go and try to talk to anyone on my mom's side, it's like that's all they want.
It's opposite.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and it's annoying.
Of course it's annoying.
Yeah.
Because you're the
So
one that can actually afford.
so that's why we never show up. I can't take it.
And I was asking, oh, you don't hang out with your mom's side so much. And then I learned the story, and it's fine. Like I think the more that you can move towards or be open or willing to forgive them for
Yeah.
their issues, it's not your fault, you know. And you support in the best way that you know how. And I think that makes you a good son and a good grandson and a good relative. And, you do your
Yeah.
best
Yeah, I hope we
within
answer the
reason.
question for
Within reason,
the anonymous person.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to go just a little bit more and hammer that nail a little bit further because to speak on a more like current situation because I
Mhm.
was sort of in the past. So there was a moment kind of like before all of this started where we were being very like conscious about our marriage, and that was during the whole like super and KLV like dichotomy where you were still being pulled one way or the other.
Mhm.
I was still trying to figure out what the heck I was doing.
Yeah.
And during that time when we weren't sure yet, I felt like you were in a little bit of a rut
Yeah.
where it felt like because I didn't really understand the root of the issue, which I'm trying to remember now and I can't really remember, but I remember where you didn't want to grow and what I was proposing was too scary and that I wasn't able to like speak your language yet, even though I thought I was.
Mhm.
And I was losing my cool and all that stuff. And we went through basically the big, like I guess the first major blow up in our marriage, I would say,
Mhm.
and where we did the most growth and the most work, which was
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
So I think if I could speak to that, and how we got through that time where you felt anxious because of, could you tell me why? Kind of remind me.
Anxious.
Or like
I
you,
mean, I know that. I remember that
it seems so far
situation,
now.
but I felt there was many things going on, and I wanted to basically break through the that 200,000 zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just knowing that when you're stuck within that zone, we feel like the basically the state is taking advantage of you, right? In taxes
Okay, so
and
that
all
feeling
that.
again if somebody's taking your
Yeah,
money. Okay, okay.
because as any citizen, you're working your ass off, and we physically in our job work like crazy, and we're on top of that. It feels like for all 10 years now, we've been working every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we do work every day. We're not working like every single hour, but we're working.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't taken a vacay in like 4 years. I think the major vacay was like.
Did we go to Iceland?
That was Iceland, but that was a week. But Japan was a real vacay.
That was a real vacay.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
we
was
haven't
like
had a real vacay.
that was like 3 weeks. 3 weeks of hanging out.
Yeah.
And we haven't done a trip like that in a while where
Yeah.
it was like plainly nothing dealing with work.
Right.
And it was just
Yeah, we didn't even answer emails.
Yeah, we didn't do any. We just had a grand old time.
But that was before the company exploded, right? That was
Yeah, that was way before the company got anywhere.
like, dude, right now is so insane. It feels so busy.
It's
don't know- I don't know
mean,
if
I always
it's-
felt that because I always answered the emails.
Right.
But now you get to see what why I was stuck there.
I
for
like
so
it
long.
though. I mean, it tells me that we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
People are always gonna get married, and that even not only you, I've always been confident in you, but now I'm confident in our team because I get validation from the client saying we're open, we're open, we're open. That's awesome. That's wonderful. So I love it. I'm very grateful for it. But yeah, like during that time when it just felt like you wanted to do this, but you didn't want to do the work to get there. So there was this
Yeah.
bridge that you had to cross, and I was trying to like almost drag you across, it felt like.
Yeah.
And there were some fears or something like that, and the way
I
that
think
I
felt,
wasn't making it feel safe to
Yeah.
cross the bridge with me.
I think I felt a little tired in a way that all the energy was expelled already and into try and manage the growth of Coverb and didn't know it was going to be a startup from ground zero with Super. So all that, like the energy was gone already, and then I felt I just wanted to maintain KLV with all the energy I had left for that year.
Yeah.
And with also my cousin not shooting alongside changes things, so I felt very fear-based right there. Is like who
You didn't feel safe anymore.
yeah, I didn't feel safe anymore
Okay.
because I wasn't prepped to get someone ready to take
Right.
his place yet.
Yeah. And you put so much there, I think, and it was kind of like unconscious. And
Yeah.
So natural too, like you didn't have to try so hard outside of your box, and
Mhm.
and then after that, after he left, like everything changed.
Yeah.
I'm glad he did because it forced you to be uncomfortable. It was sad, but at the same time, it woke us up, and we're like, hey, pay attention,
Yeah.
do it right. You know, all these things. I think of him every day because every day I'm trying to build a team. And I remember all of my mistakes with Jonathan, and not in the way that like we treated him bad or anything, but I feel like there were so many ways that I could have done more, I guess. Not that I regret it. He's got to do his own thing. I
Yeah.
always think about how I can be better in terms of doing what I do.
But to sum all this up, yeah, it's like we're dissecting. Going back to this question right here, right?
Yeah,
Is it? What did you want?
I-
You were asking me something, and yeah, it came to a big story.
Well, that's the point of the podcast, V.
Oh, okay.
You know, allow yourself to go there because
Oh, okay.
and allow yourself to feel safe to go there, and don't feel like
I thought we weren't answering that person's.
I feel like
question.
we're answering it in a long format.
Okay.
But because, you know, there's just so many situational things, like it's such a broad question.
Yeah.
How do you help your partner with anxiety and depression, right?
Okay.
So it's like, well, there's many
Talk about it.
levels and layers to that. We
Yeah.
talked about the financial stresses of when you're married or even when you're not even married. And we talked about like the business aspect of it and how you can get kind of depressed when you feel stuck in a rut or you don't feel that things are possible.
Mhm.
And the biggest things is like if you want to help somebody, number one is like safety. Can I trust you?
Yeah.
Can I trust you with this thing that I think is so incredibly debilitating or whatever, right? Like
And I feel like
an IBS thing.
yeah, you were stuck in a
I
rut
felt
with
so
that.
alone because I, for some reason, was so embarrassed and so shameful. And Tony brought it out of me to tell you. And then even then, when he was trying to like really hard to get me to tell the truth,
Mhm.
I didn't want to because I had repressed it and I was ashamed and all that stuff. And then until I finally talked to my chiropractor, she's like, oh, just write it out. And then finally I could, okay, I'll just tell people.
Yeah.
And it was like not a big deal. And I told you on the show, I told Tony, I was like, so now I'm telling everybody and it's like not a big deal. And now when I find that I have to tell somebody that I have IBS, I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
And so I think number one is, of course, building trust and like knowing that the people around you that love you, especially your
And
partner.
probably yeah, speak about these situations not at home. Like go to a neutral environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have a day out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not feeling like so confined and comfortable in your own zone.
Yeah.
I feel that's helpful.
Yeah, it was. Like when
I feel every time we go out during
Yeah.
dinners or something somewhere else, like we just talk. And
Freely.
You just talk freely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just feel good.
Yeah.
You're coming from a good place.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, but
when I'm in a good mood, I'm in a good vibe, and I don't let my anxiety get the better of me.
yeah.
'Cause I'm like, what's the number one thing I look for when we go out?
Hmm.
I look for the bathroom, right? I'm like, where's the bathroom? I need to know. I could see it. It's got to be in my eye line in order for my anxiety to just go, oh.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get, I'm aware of that thing. And then, when you say things like, oh, it's all in your head, it's like, yes, I know it's all in my head, but it's not something so easy where you can't just shut off like you were dealing with a very, whatever anxiety you were dealing with, you couldn't just shut it off.
Yeah, you can't.
But I think the best thing that you could do as a partner is just be understanding and, don't belittle their experience. That's so important for me. Like if I tell somebody I have IBS, that they don't belittle my condition. Like the pain that I experience is very real, or the mental weight that I feel when I don't see a restroom, or that I'm in line somewhere and I feel like I can't escape. That's a very real thing in my head that I'm trying to address through managing it and stuff. And so it doesn't help when somebody who's really close to you just says, oh, it's all in your head. Like you need them to be really compassionate and understanding, and at least, just have some empathy for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm trying to like say is, for us to support each other with those bouts of not severe anxiety and depression, but what we go through because we are human, is to just build trust and assure your partner that you can go there together.
Yeah, and just know that you're supportive throughout whichever choice they're about to make, and there's never a right or wrong in their decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel I was in a rut many times throughout our relationship, even deciding, oh, should I do nursing or should I do wedding photography? And I felt really stuck because I got held back in nursing school. And that was a huge rut, I felt.
Yeah.
You were a kid. I mean, every college student goes through this and changing their majors. They don't know what they want to be, what they want to study. They don't know what their passion is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you know?
So, I was stuck in that situation. I just really liked to do photography. I just really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And
what was the one thing that was like making you feel so like in a rut? Even though you failed and that was like, okay, cool. Maybe this is not for me.
I kind of already knew, like I listened to my gut. I already knew that nursing, I was never passionate about it. I can try to like fake myself into it. Like, oh, I love it and I can do it and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyone can do anything, I would say. Like
Yeah.
Anyone can learn and get all A's in any major.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone can graduate with a degree.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, do you really want to pursue it? Do you want to live your life 9 to 5?
The one life that you have.
Yeah.
Do you want to do
job?
that? Yeah.
So, yeah, I just winged it. I was like, let's just take the damn risk and just do it.
So how were you in a rut then? It doesn't sound like you were in a
rut.
rut.
I was in a rut, like, trying to decide which way, knowing that the other way I haven't really made a financial stability out of it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
at that time we weren't established. I just kind of knew that it is possible because there were like other people uh, that I looked up to did it, right? I was like, this is a thing? Okay, cool. How can I get there, right?
And then you did it.
And then we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, it's like I always remember that I had to I mean, I called a bunch of people. I mean, you were there sitting on the stairs with me, just talking about it. I would speak to our roommates, which was David back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, man, I don't think I'm going. I think I just want to drop nursing. He's like, no, don't do it. Like, you transfer to schools.
I think I remember his
Yeah.
face. Yeah.
You're
He was
like-
like, what?
You like transfer school and you went here and you went through all the trouble and you're in your last semester. You want to end it right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just finish it off.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you got your degree and you
I
you
did.
finished.
Yeah, I
basically.
did.
Yeah.
Also, thanks to our dear friend Shelly.
Yeah.
She's the one that
She helped
finished.
you through that.
Yeah, she helped me through the last semester of getting where I
Thanks,
wanted
Shelley.
to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
I-
It's good to. I think if anything for school, you learned how to be disciplined.
Yeah.
You know, you learned how to finish the job.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. If that's one thing that college has shown me, it's like at least you can be disciplined enough, even though you didn't like it. And that's very much a skill that you took into wedding photography, where you're like, nope, like we're gonna put out the best product,
Yeah.
or we're gonna give the best service, even though maybe we didn't like them personally, or maybe they didn't like us. No, we're
Mhm.
still gonna show up, right? So there's something about going through the motions that I feel that you exemplified in college, because also too you got like summa cum laude, so you got, you tried your best even though you weren't gonna do it,
Yeah.
so you still followed through. Like your follow through is thorough and is not half-assed, and so
Yeah.
it-
I mean, the reason why I wanted to get that sumo cum laude is it was a fallback.
right.
Yeah, I didn't know what business was going to be like.
So
you
it's
know?
your follow through, and so they say that how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And this is something that I've been learning in yoga, and it's been teaching me to like take my time with stuff, because I'm so impatient and I go too fast. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so it's something that I'm trying to pay more attention, like with you, especially now that I'm in a little bit more like my role is a little bit more, I would say, like you have to be more meticulous, like the way that you are. So I want to pay attention more. I want to be present more in what I'm doing, and how I do one thing, like answer an email, should be how I would do the rest of my job. So I feel like you embody that really well. Is how I answer my email is how I would, meet you in a real person meeting, or how I would take a photo. It's thorough, right? You have a good follow through. So that's definitely something that I want to work on, as well as like everything that I do. I want it to have a consistency as well.
Yeah, I felt even just being embodied in the Japanese lifestyle when we were in Japan, and
Yeah.
just taking notes of how well they do one thing
Yeah.
and how they take care of the things they have.
Despite how much they're getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really care about that, but they do appreciate life, and they do appreciate their surroundings and their country, and every
their job.
yeah, their job. Like, you give them a job, they're going to do it right,
they're
and
going to do it excellently. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like almost OCD almost. But I mean, we're not taking it to that extreme, but just know that we want to put out a really great product.
Right.
You
Well,
know, like
I like that about you, that
like,
excellence.
no one deserves a bad product.
Right. It's their memories, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, even though we're human on the other side, we still try to be excellent as well. I remember we went to the post office in Japan, remember? And there's a guy, and his only job is to stand there with white gloves and check if it's dusty. Remember that? I just remember that. That shit was crazy.
I don't remember,
We went to
but-
the post office to go exchange money, and then
Yeah.
there's a guy who just says, like hello or whatever, and bows at you when you enter the post office, and he's got white gloves on. We were in line for a long time, so he was there just like running his finger on the escalator, just making sure he would look at it and make sure like it's not dirty. I was
Huh.
like, dang, that reminded me of my grandmaster. Like he would come into the dojang and just like do that with white gloves and make sure if it was clean. So I just admire that like incredible esteem for excellence, like perfection.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that I want to incorporate more to what we do.
Yeah.
Okay, next thing.
What's the next thing?
Wait, I wrote it down. I have to go pee so bad. Why do I have to go pee in this show?
Oh, it's raining hard.
It's raining hard, yeah. Okay. Cultivating a love language and the evolution of love language between us.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the importance of it. So we have a pretty, and thank you for asking that question. Jenna asked it, so I should. Where did that start? Did it start from you?
What?
Like our little love language, like our little
Like
little
nicknames?
language, or like our little nicknames, like how we talk to each other.
Yeah, I think I make shit up. Like.
No, is that how it started though? From you?
Yeah, I always make weird ass
Weird
words.
names.
Yeah. And
Weird noises.
And noises and I don't know. I always done that when I had like a dog. When I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would like do weird shit. I mean, I
Yeah.
was, the only child, so I don't know what only child would talk to themselves. And,
Oh, I talk to myself a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll talk to yourself. It's not like you're schizo. You're not talking to some
I
imaginary
still talk
person.
to myself.
But yeah, you start to make some weird your own language,
Yeah.
and then that's how it spurred.
I think it's so necessary for us. So my perspective on our little language, like if you're around us for more than maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes, you're going to hear us talk to each other a certain way.
Yeah.
And so we like to be really cute about it. And it's because in the same vein, like on a scale, we can both be very stern. Like when it's game time or when we're
Yeah.
busy or we're like it's time to do some shit, like our tone will change. Like my voice will get deeper, yours will get deeper, we're shorter with each other, and that's a part of the hustle.
Yeah.
I would say, right? It's a part of the
Yeah.
hustle. Cool. So we have an agreement where we kind of have like an unsaid agreement where it's been so crucial for us to have this other language where we're friendlier, we're goofy, we're silly, and it gives a nice balance to that sternness that we can both be. We can be very strict and stern and all that stuff, but at the same time we can be really kiddish. And I think it's so important that we have that. Like if I were to look back and like analyze it a little bit, like if we didn't have that playful side, I feel like it would be too serious, too business,
Yeah.
too formal.
Too formal.
And especially we're not going to have children. That's our agreement for now. Is like we have to find ways to play with each other and make light of things. And so the evolution of our like little language with each other has become more gibberish and silly as we go on. So what we're on right now is like we say certain words, but they start with B. The word B.
Yeah,
So,
it's
like-
always. I don't know how that even came along.
I have no idea. It's an evolution. It's like real language, like how we are speaking English right now. It's evolved from something else, right?
Yeah.
So, That is the beauty of our
and
our
it
language.
doesn't escape these doors.
And sometimes we won't even know what each other is saying because we've gone so far.
Yeah.
Like you'll make up some word, and then like I made up a word and you didn't know what it was, and you're like,
Yeah.
"What is that?"
I thought it was.
and then I had to like get you to guess what it is, or you
that was
get me
a
to
frog
guess.
noise that you were making.
I'm not gonna share it because that's our word. But we have just know. I think it's a-okay to have your own language, your own love language.
Yeah, why isn't it okay? Like.
Well, I think some people may feel, especially if maybe if you're maybe if you're a stiff person,
Huh.
or if you were once like me, where you didn't know that you're making the environment unsafe.
Yeah.
There was a time where I thought being stern and strict meant I'm powerful, and that if I let that power go, that I'm giving away of myself. And that's because I had this previous relationship that it took totally 100% advantage of me, and like I was like, dude, nobody will ever do that to me again. So I'm thinking my anger and my sternness and my strictness will give me power that nobody can take away from me. That's what I was thinking before. And now it's like, no, it's not. It's okay to give freely, to be silly, to be equal, as long as you're on the same page.
Yeah, I think if the other person wants to have the same love language, but I think you just need to accept it. I mean, being on the same page. I think you guys both have to want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be weird if I said it and you never said it back. It's like,
yeah, you have to play. You
you
have
to
go
kind
there.
of play together
Yeah.
As kids, or as a couple.
Yeah, that's so important.
If you guys don't play or have your own thing, then don't do it.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like I didn't see that with my parents either. You know, they didn't really.
I think every
they
couple
play a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually, if I think about it, they would play a little bit, and my dad, he would always show this side of himself that's so playful. Remember, like you would ask, your dad's so like quiet and serious. I was like, actually, he's really playful. He's super playful. He would play with us. We would make Legos. He would throw things at us, and he'd be super playful. But he would only show that side to his family. So I take that back. Yeah, they were actually really playful. So yeah, I think that's really important that, as a couple, you go there. Sometimes you would be like, oh, you're being silly or whatever. And I think there's lines that, like, maybe you're not silly all the time. So you like to be silly a lot. And so, like, there's a line between being silly and going there and playing and everything like that, and that's all good and fun. But then there's also like the sexy time side. So if I can talk about that, it's like sometimes you don't want to hear the silliness.
Yeah.
Like interrupts like the masculine and the feminine. Like I'm like, I don't want to hear that right now.
Yeah.
I told you this morning at the table, I was like, don't talk to me like that if whatever. So whatever I said, I won't repeat it. But yeah, there's lines that we cross.
I know.
So I think it's all good and fun. Shouldn't be 100% silly, because women still want to be chased. You know what I'm saying? So, so that's how our love language has evolved.
Yeah.
And my kind of analysis of it. And I love it too, because it allows, it also shows me too, like when you're being silly.
Yeah.
After maybe like 5 minutes ago, you're like, okay, bye, I'm going to go do this now. I'm not going to talk to you. I was like, meh, okay. And then I hear you go, or something, like you do something silly and you make a silly noise.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh, cool. He's allowed me to enter again, basically. That's what I feel like, because we both work our backspace, and it's like when the headphones are on, or like when you're about to write an email, or you're about to go do some shit
when
that
I write, don't bother me.
involves some shit. You're like, okay, bye. Like you cut it off really quick.
Yeah, because it will take me 2 hours.
and I do the same thing. And then the moment when you're done, then you go, oh hi, or you make little sounds, or I make little sounds, and then it's a signal to each other, like, oh, okay, cool, the door's open again.
Yeah.
And it's so good for us to have that, because it's like a stop-go kind of thing that we agree to. And it's not like how before, when we didn't really have a good language set up yet, or we didn't have an agreement yet, like if you got cut off, or if you were being talked to in a certain tone, you'd be like, oh, and you get sad, or you get butthurt, or you get offended, and you get defensive.
Mhm.
and then you don't know how to come back into neutral territory. So
Yeah.
it's good that we have the red light, green light with the tone of our voice. So I think that's really important, especially in terms of running a business together. I think couples that don't do what we do, they probably don't have any idea what we're talking about, but that is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder who else will. We watch Alex Honnold free solo, and we got a bit and pieces of his life in there
Yeah.
with his
You could see some
girlfriend. Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And yeah, his relationship is rock climbing first,
Yeah.
and don't get in my way.
Yeah, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
And so but I think he has like a condition where his amygdala is like there's nothing going on in his amygdala, and there's just
He doesn't.
a climbing monkey in there, and that's it. So he sometimes doesn't,
He doesn't.
recognize
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, recognize like celebrations.
celebrations or certain emotions.
Mhm.
And I just found it super interesting because he's still managing to run a very communicative and successful relationship with this girl, and it's because she's going there with him. She's understanding his upbringing, his brain basically, and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And still it's safe for him to be like, oh, okay, it's a birthday, and I should, even though this seems frivolous to me and doesn't really matter in my life and goals, like I should still partake in having
Yeah.
a good time, even though I think it's dumb. And then they do that. And so I like that it's like, hey, even though maybe you don't think it's a good idea or worth your time, but because you love that person, you're willing to talk about it
Mhm.
or do the thing or go through the motions or listen or whatever it is, right? You're willing to open your door to
Yeah.
that because you care about that person. Yeah.
It was a cool documentary.
Very cool documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go see it. Free Solo. Alex Honnold.
Yeah, you
Freaking-
did get nervous. You did get nervous. You
You were
bailed.
thinking he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were thinking he was crazy. You just went up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching so many interviews with him, how he would be like, yeah, I was scared, but I still did it.
Yeah. That. I mean, once you guys see it, there's this one traverse
Yeah.
and that ninja kick. That was
The boulder problem.
the boulder problem without a rope,
Yeah, crazy.
and you're 15,000 feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I don't even know. Like
Well, you
my
know,
hands would get so sweaty.
you watch the documentary and he takes you through his process.
Yeah.
And very, very meticulously writing the moves down,
And yeah,
you know?
and it's pretty crazy that yeah, he's able to climb with a bunch of cameras surrounding him. He knows he's being filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he quit on the first time, remember?
Yeah, he quit on the
Because
first time.
people were watching him. So it goes to show you, like, there's a process, there's a journey, and there's a method to what seems like madness, but there is a method there. There was a very meticulous method and a process that he trained himself to do.
Mhm.
And he had a group of people that really supported him, and it made it safe for him as well to like make those mistakes. And he's like, nah, I'm not even, it's not for my ego, it's not for me today. And he just quit,
Yeah.
right? Everybody was out there all ready to go film, and he was just like, I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's not right. And then for everybody, they were just like, all right, for you, it's not right. I support it.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. That brings me to the last thing that I wanted to talk about. We were talking about support and making things safe and all that stuff. In the most trying times when I was anxious and depressed about a relationship and I wasn't feeling that I was getting anywhere with you during those times, it was
Mhm.
really crux. And maybe you felt the same way with me, and we were teetering on quitting almost. Quitting in terms of like, can we work together?
Mhm.
Can we work together cohesively, right? It's like, yeah, you can always work together, but kind of like how we did for the last 10 years is like we kind of work together, yeah, but not really truly how we are doing it now, which truly feels more like a team.
Mhm.
But yeah, in those times where it was really hard, because you will come up to those times where you're like, I feel like I can't do it. I feel like you're not with me, or you're not here with me. I want to be here with you, but you're over there. Whatever, you're not on the same page. It was so important for good friends to hear what I had to say when I went to them and not judge you too. They were always the friends that I have. I'm so blessed because, like in their marriages, it's not like in the movies where you bash on the other person and you revel in that and you talk shit and you do that whole like in the movies rom-com sort of thing, like, oh, he doesn't know, he's like, it was never like that. It was always very constructive. It was always trying to understand both parties, the husband and the wife, me and you, when I went to friends. And um they were also like a pillar of strength that I could go to, where even though I was feeling like I was crumbling, I could go to my friends like Jeff or Ann or Michelle, and say, I'm crumbling, can you help me? And they would lift me up and say, nope, you gotta bite down, you gotta fight back, you gotta stand up, you gotta communicate. They would be there for me and tell me that, oh, they would help me dissect my behavior too,
Yeah.
so that I could be a better wife, and then come back to you in a better way. And so it's so important too. Like, yes, you have each other to lean on, but sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes it feels like, and so you go and know that you have friends that support your marriage, not just you. Like maybe one friend is more friends with you. And sometimes you can get caught in like, oh, well, like, fuck that other person. Like, you're better than them. Like, it was never like that. And I'm so grateful that my friends were able to see past that immaturity and be like, well, let's talk about it. Like, let's support your marriage. Let's see how we can problem solve and actually get you back to stability.
Yeah.
In this time of crisis. So that's so important too, is like, when you feel like it's not enough, go to your friends that actually will support your marriage and who won't do you this disservice of bashing on the other person and digging into those fears that you already have. I have to be so bad. Did you have anything else to add, Vem?
No, but I mean, I do like that we're able to do activities together now. Slowly.
We got to play disc golf yesterday.
We did golf. I mean, I still have to.
We didn't get injured.
Yeah, I didn't get. Yeah.
Even though we ripped it, right? I was throwing. I felt like I was throwing.
It's a different feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's with your arms, I feel. I mean,
I
you do it with your hips.
I put my whole body. Yeah.
Yeah,
I put
but
my
then
whole body into it.
it's not like a twist.
Uh.
Yeah, I feel like with golf, it's something different.
And you're also holding this kind of heavy, awkward thing.
Yeah.
The club, it's heavy here and it's light here, and
It's a weird movement because it's like down, up.
Down and up, and you could hit the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to hit the ground.
Versus just thrusting it.
Just throwing it, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's least resistance. So it's a little bit safer for us.
It's actually, I mean, yeah, compared to golf, yeah, you have to walk to your ball. I mean, with the frisbee, I feel like you're getting a little bit more of an exercise, especially
you gotta walk
when,
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, especially when your disc is about to go into the water.
Hey, we got it though. We were about to lose 2 discs and we got them. So
I
that's freaking boss.
Thank you.
That was freaking boss.
It's always this one.
It's cool. It's cool. We just
Yeah.
gotta get better. You just gotta get better.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
But I'm glad that we're slowly finding our recreational things that we used to like to do.
Yeah.
And we're able to do it again.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we get to rock climb soon.
Yeah. I think soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
We
knee's
don't have to
getting there.
boulder. I feel like top rope is always a lot better on your legs, and you can take a rest versus bouldering. You have to like jump off. And when you can't figure it out, and then
I love bouldering though.
That does more damage.
Yeah.
I like both, but I feel bouldering has more damage to.
Yeah, if you don't know how to dismount.
Yeah, dismount,
Yeah.
or it feels like it rips your hands off more than top rope.
Well, 'cause you're in those dire moments.
Yeah.
You're dynoing or you're crimping and you're falling, and
You can still dyno and top rope.
yeah, but you got your rope to kind of like,
Yeah. I
don't
still
know.
feel uneasy dynoing anywhere.
That's true. But we used to do it, man. So yeah, I think we'll be back there. I'm happy too that I'm putting in the work. I'm committing to the work to make my body better because
Yeah.
I was also depressed about that. Like, is this it?
Yeah.
I was in pain for so long, and I'm
It'll
like,
be
is
so different now that you're eating, like we're both eating well, and
yeah.
later we'll be even lighter than what we used to be when
Mm,
we first climbed.
yeah.
If I'm like freaking 155, I'll fly up that. I remember when I lost some weight and
Yeah.
we were climbing, and
It
I
was feeling
felt,
light.
yeah, I
Yeah, I was
felt
feeling
like the
hella
strength,
light.
yeah,
Mhm.
strength to body ratio
Mhm.
was perfect.
Like my bottom wasn't so heavy when I was like trying to bring it to the
Yeah.
wall. Yeah, true, true. I'm thinking about that too, and that's making the change of like eating better. Even when I have urges to like eat something really salty or have my cravings or whatever, I'm like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
That 2 minutes or whatever, 5 minutes of eating a burger that doesn't help me, that bloats me, that irritates my stomach lining, I just run through the whole list, and I'm like, nah, it's not worth it. So
Yeah.
it's becoming easier and easier to make healthy choices. When before, like, it was so difficult. I guess 'cause I didn't have real consequences to my actions, but now
Mhm.
I do. So, and so do you. So now the decisions they have more weight,
Yeah.
versus before it's like, the only thing that changed was the number. That's not so dire. When your health is in the balance, or you're gonna be in pain immediately, like the consequence is a lot more. You feel it more.
Mhm.
So it's good. In a way, it's good that you go through the pain of that. So, okay, that'll do it for us because I have to be so bad. So, thank you for joining us here on Past the Aisle.
Thank you guys,
I
and
hope
we'll
we
see you
answered your
next.
questions.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you
we
for
did.
giving us topics. I think we were able to like just go there.
Yeah.
I like that better than. So this is this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys. We'll see
guys.
you next week.
Ciao.
Bye.